Most of our waking hours are spent trapped in a storm of our own making. We replay past regrets, project future anxieties, and battle an exhausting, continuous stream of internal noise. This mental friction long predates the digital age, existing as a fundamental structural reality of human consciousness, rather than a byproduct of modern technology. Over 2,000 years ago, this specific psychological crisis was recorded in the Bhagavad Gita. The warrior Arjuna confesses to his guide, Krishna, that his greatest obstacle is not the army standing on the battlefield, but the state of his own mind. In verse 634, Arjuna identifies 4 distinct characteristics of this mental condition. He describes the mind as restless, turbulent, and strong, and dangerously obstinate, qualities that allow it to overpower even the most disciplined intellect. He captures the impossibility of the struggle through a single metaphor. Restraining this inner chaos is like trying to catch a raging wind with your bare hands. Since we cannot physically walk away from our own thoughts, mastering this internal storm represents our most essential life task. Krishna validates Arjuna's struggle and responds with a technical analysis of the dual nature of consciousness. In verses 6.5 and 6.6, the text focuses on the Sanskrit word Atma. While it can mean soul or body, Krishna uses it here specifically to define the mind as a dual agent of the self. When unchecked, the mind enters the enemy state, or shatravat. The senses are dragged outward by external objects, creating a turbulent loop of desire, greed, and anger. This sensory pull destroys cognitive clarity, leaving the individual effectively enslaved by their own mental reactions. However, the same mind becomes our greatest ally, or bandhu, when it is properly directed and detached from those sensory objects. A disciplined intellect filters these sensory inputs, allowing us to observe external triggers without being hijacked, maintaining a stable internal focus. The mind is a neutral tool. Our internal hierarchy determines whether it functions as our jailer or our liberator. This raises a mechanical question. If the mind is inherently obstinate and strong, how do we actually begin to tame it? Krishna's formula in verse 635 identifies 2 specific practices to arrest mental turbulence: Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa is the constant, patient repetition of pulling a wandering mind back to a single focal point whenever it strays. This is a training process. You are teaching the mind to return to a state of focus without using frustration or force. The second part is Vairagya, or detachment. This involves emotionally unhooking from the immediate results, rewards, or anxieties associated with our actions. This creates an internal barrier, preventing external desires from gaining the leverage to pull your attention back into chaos. Self-mastery is the result of this dual mechanism, the continuous redirection of attention combined with the practice of emotional unhooking. An individual who deploys this protocol develops a new psychological state. They remain physically unbothered by the external winds of life. Verse 6.19 describes this state using a precise image. The mind of a yogi is like the flame of a lamp kept in a windless place, which does not flicker. The external storm has not stopped blowing, but the individual has constructed an internal, windless sanctuary where their focus remains steady. This is the realization of samatvam, a state of equanimity where the individual remains unaffected by external success, failure, or upheaval. Your mind is the only companion that stays with you from your first breath to your last. Leaving it untrained is a choice to live within a self-made prison. True sovereignty is won by conquering the mind, transforming your greatest internal enemy into your most powerful friend.